All right. And we are live. Well, welcome, team. Welcome to Real Estate Dad, where DAD is an acronym for Daily Agent Download. So I think we can all agree that in life and in real estate and in just being an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur in general, life tends to throw us some challenges, some hiccups, some curveballs. It sometimes will send us some victories and some items that we can celebrate. And that really is the purpose of this daily agent download is just essentially to download. Um, Being a managing broker for the nation's largest real estate brokerage and being located in one of the most populous states, which is California, I have the blessing and the opportunity to help a lot of agents in any given day. And if you compile that over a week and a month combined with my personal coaching, it ends up being a lot of agents that I support. And I see a lot of things that come across my desk. And recently, I decided, you know what, I'm going to start downloading these in a daily live basis just because there's so much value, there's so much information, and I'm sure there's others out there that would definitely love to learn from this information. Maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe not. Maybe there's something to be had here. But at the end of the day, team, my role, my goal, my mission, and we'll get into this some other time, is really to just build a massive community of entrepreneurs and real estate professionals, all supporting one another. And I have essentially 2 decades of knowledge in the real estate space combined with real world boots on the ground support of agents on a daily basis for the nation's largest brokerage. And well, enough about me. This is about you. And so, what came across my desk today, and what really was sitting heavy on my mind, and I wanted to talk about today, is the new agent process. By new agent, I'm going to say 3 to 5 years or less. And let's just use 5 years as a benchmark, definitely 3 years. And if it's inside of 1 year, absolutely a new agent in 1 year or less. But really, my reason for this, sorry, let's close out some windows here on my other computer. And really, the reason for this is I was assisting an agent today and he just was in a difficult situation. He was trying like heck to grow his business, and it just seems like Murphy's law: anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And the chips were just stacked against him, and it wasn't for a lack of effort. Could have been a misdirected effort, which I'll get into here in a moment. And as we addressed his initial concern, I realized that we were talking more about the symptom than the actual disease as a whole. And what I mean by that is so often coaches and brokers, they tend to run around and spot treat what the problems are, the fires that bubble up, versus getting to the core challenge of what really needs to be addressed, fixing that so that the symptoms or the fires don't flare up on an ongoing basis. So you basically just, my grandpa would say, just kill it at the root. That way the weed doesn't grow back. So if there's reoccurring problems in your business, we need to look at how is the business structured? What are those core issues? And most importantly, how do we correct those core issues and mitigate them from happening? And as I went through this process and we peeled back the layers, I naturally and empathetically just drew back on my first year in real estate, which is a story unto itself that I will share another time. But there certainly was a list of items that I certainly wish that I knew my first year in real estate. I could have used them in my second, third, or even my fifth year in real estate. And I think for seasoned veterans, it's a good reminder to actually hear them now as well. And there's a few points. I'm going to say maybe 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Who's keeping track? This is really informal and we're just going to flow. And if you have a pen, paper, pencil, crayon, marker, spray paint, something to write in, go ahead and take some notes. Rest assured, they're going to be pretty powerful. And I probably in a future date will take these and break them down into little mini trainings. But I think this is a good start with an all-in-one First year in business, just boom, get started. What do we need to know? What do we need to do to get off the ground, get going, and start making some money? Because team real estate is a and entrepreneurship in general is an absolute brutal business. It'll chew you up and spit you out and leave you broken sitting on the curb if you're not careful, if you're not systematized, if you're not structured, if you're not streamlined, and if you don't have solutions to problems that pop up. So first and foremost, the number one thing we need to do is we need to develop the mindset of a business owner. Now, when it comes to real estate in specific, I want to reinforce this point. You are not in sales. Well, you are in sales, but you're not just selling homes. You're in the business of sales. And what I mean by that is if you sold cell phones, well, you would inevitably, most likely, work for a cell phone carrier and you'd be selling phones for them. If you sold cars, you would most likely be working for a dealership as a salesperson and you would be selling cars for them. In the real estate industry, you are a licensed independent contractor who is selling homes. Yes, you may have a brokerage as an umbrella of support systems and in various other structure, but you are a business within a business. You are the CEO to your own business, and we tend to forget that. We tend to look at the brokerage and think that the brokerage matters. It does to a certain extent, but what matters more, and I'll talk about this another time when we talk about marketing, what matters more is your brand. But most importantly, how you treat your brand and your business as a business. What I mean by this is realize that you're not just selling homes, you're in the business of sales. This is not a hobby, and you don't have a business until you generate income. I'll say that again. You don't have a business until you generate income because prior to that, it's just a hobby. So we need to shift from a gig mentality to an entrepreneurial strategy, a strategy that has guardrails, it has a schedule, it has systems, duplicatable and repeatable systems that we know if we do X, we're going to get Y, and then ultimately we can produce results in our business. Once we get that mindset straight, okay, we're not just in sales, we're a business owner, we have our own business. What does every business need? A business needs a business plan. So, when it comes to your business plan, we need to identify first and foremost what are our revenue streams? Because if we're not generating revenue in the real estate business, we don't have a business team. Again, we have a hobby. So, sure, any business or any business plan is going to have its projections, it's going to have its profit loss, but most importantly, it's going to have its sources of business. If I was to open a coffee shop right here in Lake Arrowhead, California, I definitely would want to know where are my customers going to come from? Are they going to be drive-by? Am I going to be in a marketable location that gets a lot of foot traffic? Am I going to have to do social media advertising? Am I going to have to hold an arrow sign on the corner and flag people in? But every business needs to know where are their customers coming from. And real estate is no different. The problem is we get shiny lure syndrome. Oh, look, something new. Oh, look, something exciting. I hear it from agents all the time. Maybe they're 30, 60, 90 days into the business, or maybe they're even a year or 2 years into the business. And we start talking about strategies and they say, well, I've tried that. Oh, I've tried that. No, 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 that doesn't work. Really? You tried that? Tell me about how long you tried it. Oh, I tried it for a couple weeks. I tried it for a month because people always overestimate how much effort they put into something. And they'll say, oh, I tried it for a couple months. Really? So with that process, tell me, what did a daily routine look like within those couple of months? How many calls did you make, or how many open houses did you make, or how many homes were in the farm? Depending what the item was, there's definitely some milestones along that process that we can tell how much time, effort, energy was put into that. Most importantly, how much productivity, not being reactive, but how much proactivity went into that structure. So in creating our business plan team for point number two is we need to identify what our pillar strategies are. What are our core sources of leads? Where are our leads coming from? We need to have those conversations with leads in order to turn those leads into clients and turn those clients into escrows and those escrows into closings and those closings into cash. But we need to have those conversations first and foremost. And what are we doing with our business on a daily basis to have those conversations? Lucky for you in real estate, there's a lot of different ways to generate leads. And we won't spend too much time on that in this video. In fact, just cutting to the chase, I'm going to drop a link in the bottom of some videos I've done of my most powerful lead generation strategies. And you can watch that on your own time and kind of start creating a catalog of what it is that you want to do to generate your lead sources on an ongoing basis. Is it for sale by owners? Is it expireds? Is it open houses? Is it working in your sphere? Is it doing YouTube marketing like this? Is it creating a personal brand? Is it social media? Is it buying leads from the lead providers? I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but we need to look at the pros and cons. What are you good at? What are you not good at? What do you enjoy doing? What do you not enjoy doing? Do you have the money to throw at it, or do you have the time to throw at it? See, there's various resources and ways that we can approach this, and it's going to be unique to each and every one of you. So click on the lead generation strategies playlist in the bottom, and feel free to peruse that, and you'll find some definite nuggets and value. The third thing, and this is actually a continuation from yesterday, I said what I was going to talk about today was trusting your schedule or building a schedule that will help you grow your business. And this was from yesterday's live that just kind of carried on. And then I kind of beefed it up a little bit. And as the wheels got rolling in here, there was just more information that I wanted to share with y'all. And so here we are. But building a winning schedule. And first and foremost, team shifting gears to schedule and the mindset of a schedule. So we got number one, that we have a mindset of a business. Two, we have a business plan that we're following. The third thing is we need to get up and execute that business plan. And that starts with mindset as well. And most importantly, making an attempt to win the morning. See, real estate is one of those unique circumstances where we are our own boss. We are the CEO of our own business. Nobody's going to tell us what time to get up. Nobody's going to tell us how many calls to make. Not our broker, not folks in our business, not our office mates, not our colleagues. And heck, even if you pay a coach, they certainly can inform you. I can inform you of what needs to be done. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to get up and put in the work. Similar to having like a personal trainer. You know, the personal trainer is going to give you your meal plan and your diet plan. But if you follow that, you're going to see exceptional results. If you don't follow that, if you cheat, if you follow it in a half-ass sort of way, then you're not going to get the results that it was intended to get. The same thing follows with the business plan that you set for yourself and having a schedule that supports that business plan. So you got to win the day by getting up early. What is early for you? Well, you got to work some business hours. You can't say, oh, I'm a night owl, and so I stroll into the office at 2 or 3. Very few people can get away with that. Most often, we need to keep a solid structure, and that is getting up early and doing something physically for yourself early in the morning at 5:30, 6:30 in the morning when it's quiet, the day hasn't taken over yet. And whether that's a workout, whether that's a walk, whether that's a meditation, whether that's yoga, whether it's journaling, we have to exercise our body and mind and get ourselves into a place of state as we go into our daily business and our daily routine. And then as we start our business at our computer, at our desk, at our office, at our home office, wherever we're working from, we have to have our prospecting time first thing in the morning when we're fresh. Mark Twain says, and I may butcher his quote a little bit, but eat a frog first thing in the morning. Eat a frog first thing in the morning. And what that means is essentially just do the most difficult thing in the morning, get it out of the way. That way, that's the most difficult thing that you're going to do all day long. And then everything else is pretty much smooth sailing from that point. So do your prospecting in the morning, 7:30 to 9:30, 8 to 10, 7 to 9, whatever that looks like for you, get after it. And who are you prospecting? Well, again, click the link in the bottom for the lead generation systems and strategies and solutions. There's a playlist there with a lot of different ways to generate leads. But I'll tell you just off the top of my head, for me, because I'm more introverted in my nature, I'm more analytical in my nature, I tend to work really well with for sale by owners. And I also work well with attorneys and tax preparers as referral sources. So that's heavy prospecting for me. What my day typically looks like when I'm out prospecting is calling on real estate offices that, I'm sorry, rephrase that, Jason, calling on tax professional offices as well as real estate attorneys that may be in need of my services. Now, I don't do it as a one and done. I create relationships. I provide them value. I provide them handouts. I make my face present on an ongoing basis. I have conversations, albeit short, without expectations of receiving a lead. That way, I remain top of mind. And when I'm not out working with those professional partners, I am hosting open houses. That can be on weekends. And yes, it can be during the week as well. There's other lead generation sources. You can call on for sale by owners. You can call on expireds. You can circle prospect. There's a lot of different ways, but however you're prospecting, do it when you are fresh in the morning, because as the day wears on and as you get pulled in different directions, the wants and the needs and the demands or others are going to drain you of your energy. Then when it comes time for you to prospect, for you to work on your business, for you to grow your business, you want to make sure that you have enough energy in the tank to actually push forward and get that done. So first and foremost, serve yourself first in the morning. Feed yourself first in the morning. And what do I mean by feed yourself? I mean prospect. Generate yourself some leads that are going to pay you down the road as escrows. So that's your winning schedule: 7:30 to 9:30, 10 to 4. Obviously, you're going to stop and grab a bite to eat, but also you should be on appointments during that period of time, whether that's showing buyers or on listing appointments. If you don't have appointments with buyers or listings, which is not going to happen every day, what do you do with your time during that period of time? You're not going to like this answer. You can host open houses. Yes, you can host open houses during the week, during that period of time. Why open houses? Because you're setting up a bunch of signs in the area. You're setting up shop. You're putting the local neighbors on notice that you are in the business of helping people sell their homes. Now, homes these days are climate controlled. They're very comfortable. They have Wi-Fi, and you can bring your laptop with you. So you now have a mobile office that you're doing in an open house. So what if it is slow during the week? You have your signs out working for you while you're in a climate controlled, comfortable, Wi Fi enabled, hopefully, if you select your houses right, nice home, and doing an open house that you're very comfortable, and you have a home office that just happens to be somebody else's home that is for sale. Huge benefit in that. And I did a whole training on that. And then you're good for 4 to 5 p.m. This is where you're going to wrap it up. You're going to start planning your next day. Tomorrow starts tonight. Tomorrow starts tonight. What I mean by that is what you set on your schedule and what you set in regard to your intentions this evening is going to carry over until tomorrow. And then at the end of that time, team, shut off. Go do something for you. Go do something for your family. Unplug, be present, be purposeful, be mindful, and create this balance between work and life. Because if you are working when you are at work, you shouldn't necessarily have to work when you are at home. And what I mean by that is a lot of agents, because our schedules are flexible, will kind of goof around during the day and burn some time during the day, doom scroll on the phone, take 2-hour lunches, not be as productive as we should. And then when it comes to evening time, when we should be present and mindful with our family, we have this anxiety because we didn't do what we were supposed to do during the day. So that anxiety catches up with us in the evening time. And now we're completely out of balance because we're present with our family physically, but we're not mentally and emotionally present because our head and our heart is somewhere else on the items that we should have done earlier in the day. So if you follow this schedule, there's freedom in that discipline. There's mental freedom because you can be fully present in your workday, you can disconnect, and then you can be fully present in your home life. Now, does that mean that there's not going to be crossover? No, I'm a realist. Clients are going to call, fires are going to flare up after hours. That's fine. You can take a call, but you're not going to be sitting there with that angst and that anxiety for what you didn't do during the day that you should have gotten done. All right, team, shifting gears. Number 4, embracing coaching and mentorship. Embracing coaching and mentorship. When I first started in the industry, there was probably only 2 or 3 main coaches. Now it seems like everybody and their grandmother's a real estate coach. The coaches that were out there at this time were and are still very, very good. One of them being Mike Ferry. Mike is a phenomenal coach. And if you have not had the opportunity to see any of his trainings live, I highly encourage you to do it. Why? Because I don't know how many more years Mike's actually going to be doing this. I don't know his exact age, but I think he's pushing late 70s. The guy looks phenomenal. He's full of energy and he's full of knowledge. But he was a coach back in 2001 when I started in the industry, and then his son Tom has since started coaching. And there's Brian Buffini and gosh, I don't know. They're just not coming to me at the top of my head, but those were kind of the core coaches that have been around. Now, every real estate professional that closes a couple deals is all of a sudden a coach. And no harm, no foul. I'm not hating on anybody, but make sure that you engage with a coaching and mentor support, but make sure that it's somebody that's in alignment with you and where you want to go. Make sure they have the systems, the strategies, and the solutions to take you from where you are now to where you want to be. It's kind of ironic. A personal story is when I started in the business, there was a few coaches, but I didn't have the money for coaching. So essentially, what I did, and well, I almost went into my story, but it's very long-winded. But let's just say I was alone on an island running a brokerage that landed in my lap while the owner slash broker was in the Caribbean on an island scuba diving for 6 months. And during that period of time, Wi-Fi and internet was not what it is today. So rest assured, communication was pretty patchy, and I had to figure out a lot of stuff on my own. I didn't have money for coaching. So what did I do? I went to the next best thing. I went to somebody that had a deep, deep level of knowledge, experience, and understanding. Where did I find that? I found that in the way of an escrow officer. I found a local escrow officer who was probably 180 years old at the time, smoked cigarettes at her desk, and just cussed like a trucker, was pretty abrupt, pretty abrasive, and for all intents and purposes, to a new real estate kid with his tail wagging, I was scared. But I leaned into that which scared me, and I found out that she was the nicest human being on planet Earth. I would show up almost every weekday with some lunch for her, and we would sit down, and I would have my list of questions that I would ask. And through that, that was my accidental mentorship. So I fully encourage you to find your mentorship, not by accident. Find it by intention, find it on purpose. Connect with somebody. If you don't have a tribe, if you don't have a mentorship, if you don't have somebody to connect with, join my community. I join my team. We'll take you on, and I'll happily take you under our team's wing and move you through the process. But make sure that you have mentorship, coaching, and they look differently. You can hire a coach for accountability and for knowledge. You can also hire mentorship for accountability, knowledge, and a more deeper connection to kind of nurture you through the process. But you should also have a tribe and a community of like-minded folks that are going to lift you up, and you can ultimately lift them up as well. You can the teacher becomes the student. So you can help empower them, they can help empower you, because if you let it, real estate can be a really lonely business. It can be a very ego driven business, and it will beat you down if you let it. That almost sounded a little bit like a Rocky Five speech, but literally, it'll beat you down if you let it. So you have to have a tribe that you connect with on a regular basis to sharpen your sword, and to sharpen your mindset, and to pick you up when you're down. And you can also pick others up when they're down, and you find power in that as well. So get yourself a coach slash mentor, and also get yourself a tribe. As mentioned, if you need help with that, drop in the comments, put in tribe, and I will reach out to you, or a member of my team will reach out to you, and we will get connected, and we will support you on your journey. But make sure that you have that in your life. It's an extremely critical point. Don't go this venture alone. Number five, prospect with confidence. Now, you are newer in the business. So when it comes to prospecting, there's going to be a gremlin in the back of your mind that says, I don't know everything that I need to know, or somebody else has called them who knows more. We need to believe in ourselves, and we need to prospect with confidence, because you may not have all the knowledge, you may not have all the answers. But if you go into it with the belief and a servant's heart and the willingness to lead your clients through a very difficult, financial, turbulent situation, and you do that with a pure heart and the intention of serving them, you will find the answers along the way. There's nobody better equipped to serve your clients than you. If you don't have all the answers, you'll get the answers, but you'll go the extra mile to assist them with that process. And that's where you show up with confidence. Show up with the confidence that, hey, I got this. I got you. And together we are going to get through this and I'm going to assist you and be the best real estate experience ever. Again, team, the point of that is you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be in the business 20, 30 years. You just have to have a willingness to learn, a desire to serve, and show up every single day for your clients. So, prospect with confidence. Number 6, practice, role play, and sharpen your skills. Hmm. This is a good one because it starts cross-pollinating, or this is where we cross over with our tribe. So a good coach, a good mentor is going to provide you with some exercises to do, some scripts, knowing what to say, when to say it, who to say it to, how to say it, what is the timing of it, what is the applicable situation, and how do I use a specific script. And most importantly, we start getting into like some mixed martial arts of scripting, of how can I take something from this script and add it to this script and just come across with something that's extremely powerful for the moment. A good coach will give you that, but just with any other system, going back to the mixed martial arts, as you get these routines or these moves or these strikes or kicks, you have to practice them. And when it comes to scripting and role play, you have to practice every single day, even if it's only for 30 minutes a day. If it's in front of a mirror that you are role playing, or if you have a role play partner as part of your tribe and you guys pick up the phone or you do this Zoom interaction or this Google Meet live to live and you script and role play with each other, there's nothing more powerful than doing live, uncomfortable role play, looking at another human being in the eye and just doing the difficult and having that conversation, because you can think you know what you're going to say. But the minute you're under pressure and that seller says, "Why should we hire you for the job of selling our home?" If you haven't practiced, you're going to fold. We play how we practice, and we practice how we play. Show up every day with intention, do 30 minutes of reps, get in the reps, and just practice. That way, when that question does come off, when that question does get asked, when you're in that situation, your back's against the wall and they're saying, "Why should we hire you?" Boom, you don't even think about it. You go right after it with an answer. And that comes from practice, role play, and sharpening your skills. All right, team, moving on. Number 7, build a Rockstar listing presentation. And in today's market, where buyer representation agreements are now mandatory, build a Rockstar buyer presentation as well. That presentation is a reflection of you. It's a brand of how you are going to show up. There's different ways to do it, but I will tell you, we move in a fast paced world these days. So if you think you're going to hand your sellers, your buyers, something this thick with all these accolades and shiny things and what your company has done and how, it's the greatest brokerage since sliced bread, none of that matters. It maybe matters 2%. The remaining 98% is you and your brand. People are going to do business with people that fall into one of 3 categories. 1, do they know you? 2, do they think they know you? Or 3, were they referred to you? Somebody they know is obviously a personal referral. There's already trust there. Somebody they think they know is somebody who has a very established brand, somebody who is on social media constantly, somebody that's maybe on a bus bench or a shopping cart, somebody you see around your community, and you probably already know this. You already think you know some agents that are in your area, although you don't personally know them. That's some effective branding. But in this day and age, we don't have to limit our branding to shopping carts or to bus benches. We have the internet. We have the beauty of YouTube and LinkedIn, and yes, of course, Instagram and TikTok. Although when it comes to social media, YouTube and LinkedIn are the gold standard for generating clients. Yes, Instagram works. I'm not here to debate that with anybody. Yes, TikTok works. I'm not here to debate that with anybody. But those allow you to go wide with a client base. YouTube and LinkedIn allow you to go deep. Long form versus short form. Long form equals a deep connection. Short form equals an exposure. I know who that person is. But long form, such as items such as this, creates a connection. Use these as your listing presentation. Let folks get to know who you are, what you're about, what your style's about. If you've been watching this video for about 30 minutes and listening to me talk, you have a general understanding of who I am in regard to my approach to business. And if I was just to bookend this with some recent sales, some accolades, talk about some degrees and some awards and various other things that complete the package, That is a listing presentation. That's a buyer presentation. So at the end of the day, team, you are your listing presentation. You are your buyer presentation. Don't get me wrong. Don't misinterpret it. Don't half ass this. Have the handouts, the seller's journey, the buyer's roadmap, what it looks like, some stuff about your company. Yes, that stuff is very important. But at the end of the day, the most important piece of the presentation, the brand, is you. And most importantly, you going into that presentation with the buyer or the seller already having a preconceived notion of who you are. All you have to do is validate that. Remember, team, somebody they know, somebody they think they know, or somebody they were referred to. You need to have yourself fall into one of those three categories, or maybe two or three categories. For example, they were referred to you or you were referred to them, but they already know who you are because of your branding. Anyway, that's a whole conversation about marketing that I would love to dialogue and get into with you, but just not today. Number 8, financial systems and setup. Okay, this is a big one, and it's also towards the end of the systems because there's no sense getting a corporation set up, a bank account set up, getting all the items that we use as creative distraction to avoid doing the prospecting and the difficult stuff. There's no point doing all that if there's no business. If this is just a hobby and we're not generating cash, we're not generating closings, then we don't need all those. But as you start getting some escrows and you see this pipeline that is filling up and you have monies coming into the pipeline, by all means, start putting those foundational pieces together. Open a business bank account, get a business credit card, hire a bookkeeper if you're at that point, and then also allocate your commissions properly. Don't make 20,000 and spend 20,000. Don't make 20,000 and spend 22,000. When you close a deal, listen, team, this is important. This is where most agents run aground and just, I've seen it disastrous time and time again. When you close a deal, allocate your money correctly. Take a certain percentage and pay your taxes. Ship that off to the IRS or put it in an interest bearing account and set that money aside. That's part of treating this like a business and not a hobby. Also, reinvest into your business in regard to your marketing. And then finally, pay yourself in regard to that. Some folks will say, pay yourself first and then pay those other things second. That's actually true if you're doing it through a corporation. But if you're doing it as an independent contractor without a corporation, you, oh, I just had a thought. This is not legal or tax advice. This is me just rambling and sharing with you how I structure my business. I have to put that disclaimer out there because it could be constituted as such. But when it comes to the structure, set aside money for taxes, set aside for marketing and growth of your business, and then pay yourself. Don't spend more than you make more than you spend. That is a recipe and a success for long-term success in this business and allows you to reinvest into your business on an ongoing basis. If you want to have a financial conversation, if you want to have a structure conversation about how to structure your business or even how to structure your brokerage, I've now structured 4 brokerages, 3 of which have gone on to be phenomenally successful, and one of which was a very successful by a different set of metrics in terms of balance and being a boutique brokerage. So if you want to have a conversation about building a brokerage or building a business, just put build down in the comments. I'll reach out to you. Happy to assist you with structuring your systems. But you definitely want to have your financial system and your business system set up correctly to maximize your capital and, most importantly, maximize your growth to where you can start leveraging borrowed capital to grow your business. And I'm going to stop there and I'm not going to get too much further because that's another conversation for another time. And lastly, team, know your why and fight for it. I mean, this could definitely fall under mindset that we talked about in point number 1. But mindset is kind of the motivation that's going to get you started. It's going to light the fuse on an ongoing basis. When it comes to knowing your why, that's what's going to carry you through those difficult times. There's going to be those, not those, most of the time in the real estate journey, in any entrepreneur journey, and in business, most of the time 80, 90% is just the doldrums. It's just repeatable, duplicatable, boring task, all flared with moments of brilliance, moments of closing, moments of excitement, going back to the doldrums of that boredom just to get to that point. So it's when you are just trudging through the doldrums, trudging through the boredom, doing that prospecting and that stuff that you don't want to do, setting up the houses, setting up the open houses signs. Learn to speak, Jason. Setting up the open house signs when it's 110 degrees outside. Mm, those are all the things that we need to remember our why. Why are we doing this? What have we committed to? Are we doing this just to survive? Or are we doing this to thrive? And by reminding ourselves of that team helps us to put us in a position of state, in a mental position of state that allows us to lean in and lean into to the power of why we're doing this and carry through when we don't want to continue. Because I'll leave you with this. I promise you that real estate is an extremely fulfilling, rewarding, and amazing career. There's very few careers, not many that I can think of. I can't count on more than one hand where you can come in with a barrier entry of so low, meaning in terms of education, you essentially need to get a license, which most anyone can achieve in any state with some effort, and you can hit the ground running and you can make a six-figure income in your first year if you choose to, and you can ultimately grow yourself to a multi-million dollar producer and live the lifestyle of your dreams, all based on the efforts of your own back, what you do, what you show up and do on any given day. I love the real estate industry. I think it is the best industry to get from where we want to where we want to be, to help fulfill dreams and to ultimately live a life of purpose and give back to others. That's just my humble personal opinion coming from a place of serving this industry for over 2 decades. With that said, team, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to continue to do these lives on an ongoing basis. So if you enjoyed this, subscribe to it, hit that bell so you get notified when I go live. Subscribing to it is not enough in itself. You need to hit the bell. That way, when I do flip this on and it goes live, then it pings you and says, hey, Jason's live. I'm also going to start doing these on LinkedIn in the next couple days once I figure out the technology behind it. So we're going to be streaming from YouTube and LinkedIn. Who knows? Maybe we'll set a camera up here and do it through Twitch in the future as well. My goal is to get this out to as many people as possible. I want to grow my tribe. I want to grow my business. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm leaning in and excited to lead this with passion and purpose because I believe that it is my purpose. And at the end of the day, I know it's my purpose because it's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy showing up and doing this. So with that said, team, I want to remind you of your purpose. I want to remind you that you are powerful. And I want to let you know that I believe in you. Uh, I want you to believe in you. So with that said, team, I want you to have a happy, healthy, productive rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. You guys remember that? I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye.